Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
That was a physical. That was really. If a Republican did what Schumer did, they'd be in jail right now.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We have a behavioral problem, and I think the leaders of Congress owe it to the American people to act like adults.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math.
Sometimes I see an equation written on a blackboard, like half an equation. I'll just figure it out.
He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true.
Math is counting all your friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's adding and subtracting. All you have to do is try.
Let's try.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
People don't like her. She's a very mean person, and people don't like her. People don't want her.
We are responsible for the people who claim to be our supporters and do really threatening, ugly, dangerous things.
You also have some information, new information on the Dayton shooter.
Yes, he identified himself as part of the left. He tweeted about Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders.
We are responsible.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Which was made by Joe. Okay, I didn't want to say Sleepy Joe because I want to be respected. I want to respect him.
Well, you got.
He looks like he's going to be a candidate, and I just say, how did that happen?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show, where we're not really good at math, but we can do some figuring in our head. That wouldn't have happened to me. That was Common Core math meets affirmative action. That whole thing. We're going to have to really play that all out. That could have been the dumbest 50 or so seconds in the history of cable TV. I mean, you know, the amazing thing about it, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the fake news, quote unquote, journalist Brian Williams, serial liar, a Mike Barnacle, Kevin Cullen network news type, just can't tell the truth, makes stuff up about everything. He was on with this woman, Mara Gay, from the New York Times editorial board. She covers New York City government. So in other words, they make budget presentations to her, like de Blasio, the bust out mayor. His administration would make a presentation when the budget is introduced, like she can handle numbers. So we just I want to talk about this first because it's just so classic. Now remember, these are the people, New York Times, NBC. This is the elite media. This is part of the deep state. These are the people who call us credulous boomer rubes. We're the people who don't know anything about geography, or we don't do any reading. You know, they're smarter than we are. This woman, Mara Gay, I thought she I would have figured her for an Ivy League type, you know. But she went to the University of Michigan, which is one of the premier public high universities in the nation. And she didn't take much math, apparently. Now, as for Brian Williams, he's just a dropout from the local community college. I looked him up on Wikipedia, and he's obviously a complete fraud. And but still, I mean, this is not that difficult. Now, just to set it up in case you haven't heard it, there's another woman. Her name is Makita Rivas. She works for the Washington Post apparently, and some of these she has a blue check mark and all this. So I guess she has some did have some credentials. So she tweeted out yesterday. This is what she tweeted out after Bloomberg got out of the fight. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. The United States population is 327 million. He could have given each American 1 million and still have money left over. I feel like a $1 million check would be life-changing for people, yet he wasted it all on ads and still lost. What's the problem with that? 500 million spent, and there are 327 million Americans. If he gave every American $1 million, that would be up in the multiple trillions of dollars. I think the number I saw was, like 5 times. I don't know. I can't even get into those numbers. But anyway, what it amounts to is, actually, it would have amounted to, if he'd taken the 500 million and split it up among 327 million Americans, it would have amounted to $1.53. $1.53. So these are the two. This is the cream of the national press. Again, they look down their aquiline noses at the likes of you and me, credulous boomer rubes, bitter clingers clinging to our guns and our Bibles and our calculators, irredeemables, deplorables, just stupid people who we're not in the reality-based community like they are. So let's play the cut.
Somebody tweeted recently that actually with the money he spent, he could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. When I read it tonight on social media, it kind of all became clear. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true. It's disturbing.
It's true. It's disturbing. And again, you're not dealing with a lot of decimal points here and zeros. 500 million, 327 million. So just get rid of all the millions. 327 into 500. You come up with 153. You don't come up with 1 million. 508. Can you believe these people are allowed to vote? They're telling us how to vote. That's the problem. 860. Math is hard when you think everything should be free. But the point is, this is why they believe crap like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren saying that all they have to do is tax a few billionaires and everything will be fine. I mean, if you're this stupid, and again, you have to assume that these are some of the more educated, more articulate people. So here's what he said. Turns out Mara and I got the same grades at math. This was after the break. I'm speaking of the tweet we both misinterpreted. He could give each American $1. Again, I didn't have it in high school. I don't have it tonight. I stand corrected. Sorry about that. The tweet was wrong. But see, on National Review, Charles C.W. Cook, he's an ever-Trumper, but he had a good point on this one. This right here is why so many leftists think that the billionaires can pay for everything. It's why the fake Indian was enthusiastically boosted by the media despite her ridiculous pretense that she could pay for a series of gargantuan initiatives without raising taxes on anyone but the extremely rich. It's why Democrat after Democrat promises to not raise, quote, middle-class taxes, unquote, while promising programs that require the raising of middle-class taxes. How did this bad tweet make it onto TV to be endorsed? Why did Mara Gay agree with it? Why didn't Brian Williams notice? Because the people involved in this clip thought it was true. This is how they see the world. Do you think maybe his producers were out to get Brian Williams? I mean, this is much more embarrassing than anything Comrade Chris ever said, isn't it? Really, when you get right down to it? I mean, and this had to go through. I mean, somebody had to put that graphic together. Didn't anybody look at this? Wasn't there some like 19-year-old intern from NYU or I don't know, anywhere? It just said, hey, this is all screwed up. This is off by 1 million times.
Y'all elitists are dumb.
This is the same crowd that was speaking in Appalachian Southern dialect to demean everybody who voted for Donald Trump, whether they have a hillbilly accent or not. They think we're stupid. Mara Gay. She's on the editorial board of the New York Times. I guess
fake news.
I guess she's better than the South Korean woman who's on the editorial board of the New York Times, who's been tweeting out about how white men smell bad. At least she's not a racist. She's just really, really stupid. The University of Michigan. I guess when I looked up Mara Gay on Wikipedia today, I was just I was dreading that there would be another Brooke Baldwin, that she would be another UNC. And somehow it would make me seem even stupider than I am. But no, this is
Howie,
on Michigan. This is on the Wolverines. Yes,
she's on the editorial board, so she's supposed to catch other people's mistakes. That's scary.
She writes editorials, Grace. She writes, can the city of New York really afford to issue these bonds for the MTA? To rebuild the A train or the D line. Do we need to do any? Can we afford the renovations to the Lincoln Tunnel? Should the tolls go up? Let's do the math. Oh, let's do the math. Yeah, do you think, is Brian Williams still in shell shock from seeing the body float by him on Canal Street? Is he still suffering PTSD from being fired upon when he was in the Mideast somewhere in the helicopter? Is that his excuse? What is Mara Gay's excuse for going along with this? Someone says 327 trillion to give everybody $1 million. I think that's right up there. I looked at some numbers earlier in the day, but I didn't write them down. I think that's about it. 844-500-4242. Somebody says that's Dr. Brian Williams to you, Howie. I wonder if he's got an honorary degree somewhere so that he would be Dr. Williams. He's obviously a real rocket scientist. 844-500-4242. 603. He misinterpreted the tweet. Misinterpreted. How about enthusiastically bought it hook, line, and sinker? I think he should have said misinterpreted it. Isn't that what George Bush once said? And everybody laughed at it. Oh, he said misinterpreted it. Okay. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by The Still Bar and Grill in Agawam. The Still Bar and Grill has live music Wednesday through Sunday weekly. Stop by The Still Bar and Grill today in Agawam.
Hey guys, it's Grace. Howie is always giving me great advice. Never speak when you can nod. Always get the deposit money on empty cans. But the best advice he ever gave me was to call the car guys to get my first used car. I had tried to go to dealerships in the past, but just ended up feeling intimidated. But Bill Papa George from the Car Guys was the perfect solution. He got me the greatest car at the greatest price. Call the Car Guys today at 800-300-4600. I promise you won't be disappointed. That's 800-300-4600. Tell them Grace sent you.
Hey, business owners and marketing professionals, would you like to advertise on the Howie Carr Radio Network? Howie's show reaches all across New England. And you know who's listening? Your next customer, client, or business lead. If you're interested in advertising on the Howie Carr Show, call 800-227-7300. That's 800-227-7300. You're listening to Howie, and so
George
is
Bush
your
where he
next
says,
customer.
"Fuzz it, man."
Call 800-227-7300 right now.
We all love President Trump's off-the-cuff comments, but he's never in rarer form than when he's speaking at a rally. Take a listen.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes. And now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying. I don't know. I'm not a vain person.
But I look better under an incandescent light than these crazy lights that are beaming down on.
That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Got a bigger problem than I do. Now he goes home and his mom says, "What the hell have you just done?" How do you top that? I'm just ready. The big, beautiful crescendo, and this character's going back home. One person just going home to mommy a little bit sooner. These are phony people, but that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president and they're not. You really have to elect me. Whether you like me or not, it makes no difference because our country will go to hell if any of these people get in.
The Subaru of New England, Washington's birthday sales event lasts all month long. Feel the freedom in the all-new all-wheel drive 2020 Subaru Outback with standard LED headlights, starting at only $26,645 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months, or lease for only $249 per month for 36 months with $2449 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't...
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican. 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
This is Alex from East Bridgewater, Mass.
This is Ann in Saco, Maine.
This is John Succo from Hanson, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
You know, I think all of us deserve $1 million for having to have endured the Bloomberg ads. Mike can do it for these last few weeks. TV, radio, social media. He had my column surrounded on the Herald. I'm sorry. I apologize for all the streaming ads that he ran on this radio show, but you know, the math didn't work out. It's what would George W. Bush call this? Fuzzy math. Fuzzy math. All right, time now for the cheap bastard deal of the day.
It's Howie Carr's cheap bastard deal. Oh yeah. Sounds too good to be true.
Oh no, it's real and it's a steal.
You know there's plenty more when you shop at Howie's store for another Howie Carr cheap bastard deal.
Howie Carr, the cheapest bastard around.
One of our most popular cheap bastard deals recently has been at the Nauset Beach Inn down on Cape Cod. It's the only resort in the Cape Cod National Seashore, and it's a great place. And Dave Hinchy is back with us for a new cheap bastard deal involving the Nauset Beach Inn. What have you got for us for the listeners today, Dave?
Well, we really got, I think, the best one ever, Howie. It's fantastic. You know, I've been down here all week looking at the waves with the spray coming off like horse manes, thinking, wow, this is really a good deal. What we're going to do is we're going to extend the late spring promotion into the early summer promotion, and we're going to take the $199 rooms up till June 18th, from May 1st to June 18th, and we're going to sell them for $100.
So these are $199 rooms for $100, and this was just for the early spring through Memorial Day, not including Memorial Day, but now it's all the way to June 18th. This is a good deal.
Yep, the month. Yeah, it's really it's quite special. It's quite unique, and you know we want to. The inn's the best kept secret on Cape Cod. It's an ocean view you can afford. We're sitting up on that hill overlooking Nauset Beach. We're 750 feet from the surf. I mean, you hear the beautiful surf crashing all day long. The sun is so bright there. We've got no trees on the property. It's 4 acres of grass. And we've only got 12 hotel rooms down there. So it's spectacular. You have this huge property basically to yourself. You feel like you're on an island, but the restaurants are just down the street. It's really wonderful. I can't say enough about it.
And these are
It is an
these are
ocean
big
view
rooms.
you can afford.
And another important thing to remember is these are big rooms, so you can put 4 people in. If you want, you and your spouse can come down with a couple of kids, and there's plenty of room for everybody. You can put 4 people in a room, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And every room, of course, has a private bathroom, a microwave, a coffee maker, high definition TV, a couple of rocking chairs to look out your 8-foot picture window overlooking the surf. Well, the kids are out on the lawn having a good time. You can bring your dog if you want.
Bailey,
there's. I don't think Bailey will be coming to Cape Cod. I don't think Cape Cod voted for Bailey. I'm sorry. So it's just fantastic. The surfers are out there, the whales are out there. There's tons of nature trails around.
Nauset Beach Inn. How far is it? How far is it from Boston, Dave?
It's an hour and 47 minutes from Beacon Hill.
Hour and 47 minutes. If you want to get this deal, a $199 room for $100. It's our cheap bastard deal. Go to HowieCarShow.com, click on store. And this is a great deal because we're now almost into the actual summer. And we're into the summer season, but we're actually almost into the summer. This goes through June 18th. These are great rooms. And the spring is coming. Daylight savings time is coming back on Sunday mornings. The days are getting longer. The sun's getting higher in the sky. Dave could tell you that better than me. And it's almost time. This is a great deal. You're not going to get a better deal than this. $100 a night with an oceanfront view. You can see the whales too, right?
Oh yeah, you can see the whales and the seals, and all the seabirds are coming back. You hear them all day long. It's fantastic to wake up to, And the sunrise, of course, we face due east over the ocean, so the sun comes blasting up every morning, and that's only equaled by the moonrise this time of year. We get the big orange moon coming up in the same spot. It is just wonderful. And you can see the stars. There's no light to interfere with it. It's great.
So do you have rooms for right now, or you have rooms for right now, or you're sold out right now?
Right now, we're opening up April 1st.
April 1st.
We just redid the whole hotel.
Okay. So this is anything after April 1st
through
June 18th.
Yes,
HowieCarShow.com. Click on store Nauset Beach Inn. Thanks, Dave Henchy. I'm Howie Carr.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II. I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important. And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word?
Poop.
Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes
No, it's
favorite
not.
curse word
No,
if I
it's-
ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop? Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt B has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. One texter says even Brian Williams could figure out that these gift certificates to the Nauset Beach Inn are 50% off. I don't know about that. I'm not sure he could figure it out. You might think they were.
Man's practicing fuzzy math again.
Fuzzy math. Fuzzy math. That's what that is. Someone did some back of the envelope calculations, as they call them. And
Howie, does the math change when we figure out that 150 million people died from guns? Does that help Brian Williams or hurt him? And also, what about the 700 plus million
720 million women in the workplace?
Yeah. So maybe if we add all that together and subtract it, et cetera, we'll come up with a different number. There's just a lot of math going on right now with the Democrats.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty tough. Somebody figured out, though, one of the texters, that if Bloomberg has 62 million bucks and you divide, you give a certain amount, an equal amount to all 327 million Americans. That's the number that the crazy woman that sent out the tweet was using. It would amount to $189. $189. So, little bit of a difference there. 189 versus $1 million. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. We're going to take some calls on this if you want to talk about this fuzzy math, and I think it is really emblematic of how screwed up the liberals are. This is why they think that they can pay for everything and give free stuff to everybody, including all illegal aliens, and it's not going to cost anybody anything. It's just going to cost a few rich people that they've made into caricatures, put them in top hats and made them into plutocrats like, a Daddy Warbucks or Scrooge McDuck, and this is the ultimate flowering of that kind of fantasy that Michael Bloomberg could give everybody in the country $1 million. 844-500-4242. But I have to play one cut before we go to the phone lines. As you know, maybe you don't know, Bill Clinton said yesterday, Grace mentioned this, that he had his affair, so to speak, or whatever. He harassed his intern, I guess in a legal term. That's what he did, Monica Lewinsky, when he was president of the United States, because he was under a lot of stress. It was a stress, sometimes he raped women or he just groped them or he exposed himself. This is how he reduced his stress when he was having these arduous duties thrust upon him as governor and president and attorney general of the state of Arkansas. So now they're doing this Hulu special. Apparently there's 4 2-hour specials. I mean, talk about masochism. They should pay $1 million to watch that. 4 2-hour specials, and it's Hillary and Bill talking about their life and hard times. And underneath is piano music, soft, gentle piano music, because it's kind of like Dr. Zhivago, right? So anyway, this is Bill Clinton. I just had to play this one. This is the only cut we're going to play from it. But it's Bill Clinton talking about how he told Hillary about his affair. 10.
I was so grateful that she thought we still had enough to stick it out. God knows the burden she played for that.
The burden she played for that. She stuck it out. No, Bill, you stuck it out. That was what got you into trouble. That's why you were disbarred. That's why you had to pay Paula Jones $850,000. Don't you remember that? You had her brought up to the penthouse in that hotel in Little Rock from the table she was working at downstairs in the lobby as a state employee, and then you stuck it out. Don't you remember that, Bill? Are you losing your mind like other prominent Democrat 70-something politicians that we're familiar with? She stuck it out. Bad choice of words. Don't you go at that point, cut, Mr. President, given the context, we don't want you talking about sticking it out, okay? Is that all right? 844-500-4242. Tom, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, hi, Howie. I was just considering with Biden and Brian Williams having trouble with all these zeros on the end of numbers, that there's another problem that Biden's going to have. Clearly, when people think that in the debate, he's going to be rolled over because he's barely coherent when he comes up against Trump. But they're forgetting one thing. In recent history, people should remember that Hillary Clinton's campaign was given the questions for the debates.
Right.
So I absolutely assume that the same thing is going to happen in the Trump and Biden debate. He's going to be prepped by whatever the questions are going to be. He's going to be, they're going to prep him for days with the stock answers. And then the moderators, of course, are just mouthpieces for the Democrats. So I suspect that unless we can find out how to prevent that, like CNN just fed him the questions, I don't know how we're going to have a fair debate.
But
there.
Tom, the difference is that Trump is not going to put up with it. I mean, he seemed to be back on his heels, if you remember, in 2016 when the Access Hollywood tape came out, right? And he just took it right to Hillary that night, walking around behind her. What's he going to do to Joe Biden? You know, and I mean, they're going to bring up all this stuff, all the stuff about Burisma, all the stuff about all these other countries that Rudy was talking about yesterday when he was on the show briefly. You know, they've got at least 3 countries, maybe 4 countries where the Bidens were operating. I'll tell you how I'm going to spend part of the weekend is going over the Profiles in Corruption by Peter Schweitzer. I got it on my bedside table. I'm going to go and there's 2 or 3 chapters on the Bidens. I'm going to read all the chapters. So is everybody else. Yeah, you're right, though, about the debate moderators. I mean, look at that. Candy Crowley helped Obama in 2012 against the pathetic Mitt Romney. And I think Rush just pointed out on his show just before ours that how many debates was the fake Indian in? Probably close to 10, right? And I don't think she got a single question about being a fake Indian. Not one. Nothing. And even now the Globe is admitting, one columnist in the Globe, it was a tepid column. They're all tepid in the Boston Globe, but even a female columnist for the Globe was admitting no one ever believed her denials, and not to mention the Globe's denials that she didn't benefit from claiming to be an Indian when she had absolutely no business claiming to be an Indian. Thanks for the call, Tom. Jack, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, Howie, I'd like what you said yesterday about Elizabeth Warren being unlikable.
Yes.
I'd like to add something onto that. I think she's one of the most pitiful, pathetic human beings I have ever come across in my life.
I agree. Trump was asked about this, this emerging storyline that misogyny cost her the election, that somehow, men can't deal with a strong woman. Well, how does that explain that she lost the female vote too, Jack? You know, where are we? Do we have female misogynists here?
Mike Graham had a good point yesterday. She's angry, arrogant, insufferable, and a liar.
Yeah. She's a harridan. Someone used that word a couple of weeks ago. That's a great word. Look it up. It means just a shrew. She's a horrible person. Here's what Trump had to say about her today when he was being asked the M question, misogyny. Cut 1.
No, I think lack of talent.
The cheap bastard deal is sold out.
She had a tremendous lack of talent. She was a good debater. She destroyed Mike Bloomberg very quickly, like it was nothing. That was easy for her. But people don't like her. She's a very mean person, and people don't like her. People don't want that. They like a person like me that's not mean. Okay, I'll see you guys.
They like a person like me who's not mean. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show if you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon. Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beats. I'm holding it up now for the camera. I got my little jar. We're almost out of it. I'm going to have to order some more. I had some just before I went on the air today, just like I always do. I had some when I woke up this morning. Get a free 30-day supply of Super Beats, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. Jared, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who will the fake Indian endorse? Biden, Bernie, or no one for a while?
I'm going to say no one for a while.
55% of the audience says no one for a while. Bernie comes in number 3 with 9%, and Biden is second at 36%.
Remember, she was the only female Democrat senator in 2016 who would not endorse Hillary Clinton. And I believe Bernie asked her to run in 2015, said, I'll step aside if you'll run. But she didn't want to do that. She was too cautious. It was probably it probably would have been better for her to run in 2016 than this time around. Just like it would have been better for Bernie to have fought back in 2016, but he decided not to. And the upside of that is he now has a lakefront mansion on Lake Champlain. The downside is he's never going to be president. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Dirty Rats podcast. Everyone is raving about Dirty Rats. Available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as dirtyratspodcast.com. Binge Dirty Rats today. It's free.
The 2020 elections have the potential to shape the next decade financially. That's especially true if you're within 10 years of retirement. Is your plan ready? Find out with a portfolio stress test from Kevin Frisbee at Frisbee & Associates. Call 800-989-9100 for your no-cost, no-obligation analysis. Kevin can help uncover any hidden fees that may be lurking in your plan. The team at Frisbee & Associates are up to date on all the latest rules and regulations, from what the Secure Act is and isn't, to Social Security and Medicare. Let Kevin and the team give you peace of mind as you get near retirement. Make sure your plan is ready for whatever happens come November. It starts with a phone call to Frisbee & Associates, 800-989-9100. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday at 3:50 as he reviews the market. Call Kevin now at 800-989-9100. 800-989-9100.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let me
would be much better.
if I may ask one other question, Mr. President. If I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
What do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall
It's
because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think?
Still
You think
there?
I'm creating something? Ask these
Sorry, what was that?
incredible
Is the
women who
Nauset
lost their
Beach
daughters
Inn
and their
gift
sons.
certificate
Because
sold
your
out, or are they
question
still
is
there?
a very political
They are
question
sold
because you
out.
have an agenda.
Sold out,
You're CNN.
okay.
You're fake news.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Hi, this is Val from Longmeadow, Mass.
Hi, this is Tony and Pietra from Havel, Massachusetts.
This is Myrnie in Fairfax County, Virginia, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. We're sold out on the Nauset Beach Inn cheap bastard deals. They go very fast. It's a hell of a deal. Even if you've got $1 million from Michael Bloomberg, it's a hell of a deal. But we'll have more as time goes on. Dave Henchy from the Nauset Beach Inn likes the deals. They're good for him, but they're sold out right now. But there are a lot of other great deals. Go to HowieCarrShow.com, click on store. You can get all kinds of T-shirts, restaurant, still a few restaurant gift certificates left to Cryo in Peabody. And we got all kinds of stuff. 844-500-4242. Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Howie, first time, long time. I was thinking, with all this money problems, since we have a $22 trillion deficit, couldn't we give $1 million to each American citizen to pay it off?
I can't let the man continue with fuzzy math.
You ever see those pictures of the Weimar Republic in post World War I Germany, Bob? They're taking wheelbarrows full of Deutschmarks down to the bakery to buy a loaf of bread. I think you know, if we wanted to solve the national debt, we could do that. But again, we'd all be needing wheelbarrows very shortly. You know.
Good one, Howie. Thanks.
Thanks for the call. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. So Trump was asked last night, who's easier, Biden or Bernie? Cut 7.
I think in a certain way, Bernie would be tougher because he's got a base. It's a much smaller base than my base. I think a lot of my people are here and I did nothing to do that, but we have a lot of support in Pennsylvania. And I think we have a lot of support everywhere. Look at the rallies. But I was all set for Bernie. I was ready to go. And then I say, I don't think I'm running against Bernie. I think it's going to be very hard for him to come back.
It is, unfortunately. See, the problem he's got is the election in Michigan next week is March 10th. A week after that is Florida. And the problem he's got in Florida is the fact that he's been playing footsie with the memory of the Castros down in Cuba. And again, if anything, the Hispanic, the Spanish-speaking or Spanish ancestry population here in Florida has become even more conservative because they've had this huge influx of Venezuelans coming in. So it's not just one country now, it's 2 countries or 3 if you include Nicaragua. And they just don't want to hear that. And so the latest I saw, the poll I saw today, it had, and I'm not sure, it's always been sort of an anti-Bernie poll, but it had Biden ahead of him in Florida, 61-14. And Florida's a much bigger state than Michigan, which is a pretty big state on its own. So he's got to take Michigan, basically, if he wants to remain relevant. Bernie was supposed to be in Mississippi today, but they just said, Mississippi, large black population, it's going to go for Bernie. For Biden. Bernie just can't seem to make any inroads in the black community. So they just canceled all the Mississippi appearances and they flew back to Detroit. And they're going to try to make their final stand there. They have Rashida Tlaib for what that's worth. I mean, if anything, that would be a good reason to vote against him, wouldn't it? Having Rashida Tlaib, she's almost as bad as Ilhan Omar, in my opinion. 844-500-4242, 978. How did you get that feeling last night that Brett Baer and Martha McCallum were thrown off their anti-Trump game by the audience that was clearly pro-Trump? They didn't even seem to know how to handle it. Yeah, I don't think they don't know much about dealing with a live studio audience, and Trump does, obviously, because he's doing these rallies every week. So he kind of had the audience in the palm of his hand, and he was dominating, just like he did in that again, going back to 2016, that debate in St. Louis. He he took it over. He didn't care that the moderators were against him. But I think they're going to hold out this time around to make sure that it's not totally in the satchel for the Democrats, whoever the Democrat nominee turns out to be. And I'm still not convinced it's going to be Joe Biden. I just can't believe it. I mean, I know they would like it to be Joe Biden, but can he really stand up to any kind of scrutiny? I mean, he's going to have to debate Bernie, I think, unless Bernie gets out. I think the next debate is before the Florida primary. I think it's Sunday night before the Florida primary. What's it going to be like for him to have to stand there? And Bernie is not the most engaged debater. He doesn't really like to take it to somebody when he's staring him in the face. But this is going to be do or die for him. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Here is your last fair warning. This is your last chance to save big. If you haven't called New England Center for Hair Restoration for your $6,000 hair restoration, you better call today or you could miss out. All 40 slots from the original promotion have been filled, and I know there are still some of my listeners out there who could use a great hair restoration at an unbeatable price. You know who you are, and I'm talking to you. What are you waiting for? For the price to go back up? New England Center for Hair Restoration has extended this unbelievable price just for you. So please don't blow your chance. Address the problem and save $3,500 for qualifying patients. Take action. Money doesn't grow on trees. You can't afford not to do this. For those who qualify, third-party financing is available with monthly payments as low as $119. Call 800-313-HAIR for your free consultation. That's 800-313-HAIR. Call 800-313-HAIR or visit 6khair.com. 6khair.com.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable.
That they wanted their voices to be heard.
I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163. Was it 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain.
When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly. And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book. I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper. If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word?
Poop.
Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop?
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, organized is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
You're listening to the Howie Carr.
I also like your movies, but I want to give you a chance because I haven't heard the other side other than tell you that they like they like your movies.
I think the NRA is the worst organization in this country for doing exactly that. They care more about the profits than the American people.
I learned a long time ago about polling. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And right now, I got nowhere to go but up.
Millions living in the shadows, working some of the toughest jobs, kept in modern day bondage.
People commit crime. Crime happens.
I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's. Okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE. 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. So what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. So are we allowed to grow?
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
That was a physical. That was really. If a Republican did what Schumer did, they'd be in jail right now.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We have a behavioral problem, and I think the leaders of Congress owe it to the American people to act like adults.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math.
Sometimes I see an equation written on a blackboard, like half an equation. I'll just figure it out.
He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true.
Math is counting all your friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's adding and subtracting. All you have to do is try.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
People don't like him. He's a very mean person, and people don't like him. People don't want that.
We are responsible for the people who claim to be our supporters and do really threatening, ugly, dangerous things.
You also have some information, new information on the Dayton shooter.
Yes, he identified himself as of the left. He tweeted about Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders.
We are responsible.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Which was made by Joe. Okay, I didn't want to say Sleepy Joe because I want to be respected. I want to respect him.
Well, you got.
He looks like he's going to be a candidate, and I just say, how did that happen?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show, where we can do simple math. 327 into 500 comes out to 1.53. Then you can just add all the zeros onto it. It's the same thing, right? So I'd like to introduce Brian Williams to some of my friends in the nobility. Count Dracula, Count Basie, Count Chocula. 844-500-4242.
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
Got another equation for you.
Yes.
33 million equals 45.
What do you mean? I don't understand that one.
33 million people voted for Trump, and we got him.
That's good. I like that. 33 million. It was 63 million.
See, I'm not great at math either.
All right. And just before we get to Grace, I just wanted to say, Jay from Chelsea just pointed out to me that Goose Gossage, the former relief pitcher, I think for the Yankees, he's in the Hall of Fame now. He likes to deliver his thoughts on the state of Major League Baseball every year during spring training. And he spoke to the one of the papers down here today and gave his state of the game address. And he said he's tired of these stats-driven baseball executives and workouts. And he said, it's like the Democrats are running baseball. He didn't mean that in a positive way either. I'm sure he'll be eviscerated on Twitter tonight by people who don't even know who Goose Gossage is. But we get it. We get it. All right. 844-500-4242. It's Friday. Daylight savings time starts on Sunday. I love daylight savings time. I love having I know some people don't like it, but I'm one of the people who does. And I love having the extra hour of daylight at night as opposed to in the morning. How about you, Grace?
I love it. I don't really notice it, to be honest. I mean, I guess I do once it starts getting lighter out, but I don't feel passionately either way.
You don't notice it when you're driving home at night? That suddenly it's lighter?
No, I do, but I just have never thought about it enough to care. Like Marco Rubio is huge on this. He's been tweeting about it forever, about daylight savings time. It's not my cross to bear in life. It's not a hill I'm going to die on, is all I'm trying to say.
All right. So what hill are you going to die on, Grace? What did you want to discuss today?
I'm going to die on the hill that Trump had possibly one of my favorite lines ever today. It was in the introduction, but I want to play the entire clip. Jared, would you play cut one for me, please?
No, I think lack of talent was her problem. She had a tremendous lack of talent. She was a good debater. She destroyed Mike Bloomberg very quickly, like it was nothing. That was easy for her. But people don't like her. She's a very mean person, and people don't like her. People don't want that. They like a person like me that's not mean. Okay, I'll see you guys.
A person like
they
me.
like a person like me that's not mean. He does this every once in a while where he'll say things to the press. He'll say something like, oh, you know, your favorite president or the best president ever. And it's the best kind of troll because you know that everyone is going to lose their minds over it because they don't understand his humor. But it is a joke. He knows that people hate him and think he's mean and, you know, he punches back. So he says something like that and they just self-implode. They start foaming at the mouth. They get so mad. You should see some of the tweets underneath the video.
You know what I thought one of the funniest stories was today? It was in my newspaper, the Boston Herald, about the social media of the Elizabeth Warren supporters after she dropped out.
I have to say, Howie, as the person who had to pull a lot of these tweets afterwards, not for the person who wrote that column, but you said to me, oh, why don't you go look at some of these Elizabeth Warren campaign staffers and get some of their Twitter feeds. And it was painful going through some of those tweets. It's scary to think that these people exist.
My favorite one was the woman who said she needs a support pug. And I have to tell her that my dog, Mr. Gooner, is not available. I've spoken to Mr. Gooner, and he does not wish to be a support pug for an Elizabeth Warren supporter.
Yeah, well, Mr. Gooner is so old that the only one he can focus on supporting is himself right now. He can't take on another person, let alone a human being. Yeah, they're asking...
Morgan Sperry, crying again. Good God. I did too. Crying again. She is qualified and she would have been the best president, and I will be very angry for a long time, likely till I die. Thank you. To which Ben Horowitz responds, tweeting through tears, crying again. I will spend my life fighting for that room. This is the same woman. She keeps crying all through this stuff.
Yeah, I think she said crying like 4 times.
Yeah, Lottie Ash. Elizabeth Warren created the next generation of politicians. One pinky promise at a time. We'll break that glass ceiling one day. And until we do, we're leaving plenty of blood and teeth on the floor and leaving the country better for it. Is this Lottie Ash or Chuck Schumer talking about the Supreme Court?
Blood and teeth.
Here's another one from Morgan.
Sounds awful.
Morgan Sperry, another one. This is the woman who's crying all the time. She's the daughter of a janitor. Well, that's not what her brother says. Her brother says she's lying again. Morgan Sperry, go have another good weep session. Who grew up to be a public school teacher, lawyer, law professor, U.S. senator, formidable candidate for and don't forget, she grew up to be a Native American. Briefly.
So Howie, there's a story that's on Twitchy right now. That's Michelle Malkin's website where she gathers, some of the most controversial or funny tweets of the day. There is some sort of mental health professional who has a daughter who's, I think, was 8 years old when Trump won.
Yeah.
So I'll let you do the math because I'm no Brian Williams. But now
she's 72 40. Years old.
she's pushing 46 years old.
Right Can't let the man continue with fuzzy math.
It's just fuzzy math. Everybody who knows me knows I am a huge offender, or I do a lot of fuzzy math. But you know what? I am smart enough to know not to do math on the air. I do it off the air, Brian. But yeah, so my point is the girl loved Hillary Clinton 4 years ago. And now, according to the mom, it's this long Twitter thread, Howie. I sent it to McKay. He's going to print it out for you.
No, I have it right here in front of me now.
It's insane, the stuff this woman writes about how devastated she is to see that her daughter is not as interested in, having her heart broken again. And she's giving up because a woman will never be elected and she wants to play it safe.
What about Bailey? Is he heartbroken? He wanted a golden retriever in the White House. Who's going to do a thread about Bailey's response? Plus, the truck is coming to take him to the farm in New Hampshire.
I have to say, Howie, I know we make fun of Bailey, but that video of Bailey eating the burrito, that is a cute dog. I would take in Bailey if he needed, if he gets,
Do you know they have rented dog places, Grace? Did you know that they really do have rented dog places? I looked up one today. It's called rover.com. They got all kinds of dog services. And you know what, when I pushed it up, just because someone had told me about it this morning, you know what came down?
A golden retriever?
No, honey. I can get a discount from Honey if I rent. And I was looking to see if they had, new dog available. Just in back to the kennel today, a male young golden retriever, great with TV crews and really enjoys a burrito.
A burrito.
But they didn't have it. They didn't have anything about Bailey. But again, that's where you can use Honey. That's for sure. All right. Is Mr. Gooner the dog formerly known as Pearl? No, Pearl has passed on. She's not available to be a service dog or a comfort pug either. She's no longer with us. But her sister or brother, depending on how he self-identifies today, Mr. Gooner is still around at the age of 18.
Oh, and Howie, and let's not forget though, we keep talking about Elizabeth Warren, and I know it's devastating because she's not going to be in the race anymore. But Tulsi Gabbard is still in the race, and now they've set up new standards to eliminate Tulsi from the next Democratic debate. This isn't right. Howie needs to see Tulsi on his TV screen
in white, wearing white.
In white. Yes, that is your preference. I will
you know
let her
what
know.
You know what I'm going to call the Democrat Party for keeping Tulsi out of the debates, Grace?
What?
Misogynistic.
Sexist. Racist? You could say racist.
Misogyny. It's a word I never used until like 6 months ago. Now I can spell it.
Oh, and Howie, that's another thing. So those tweets from Elizabeth Warren's campaign staff, did you notice that one of them tweets about Tulsi and she puts the little asterisk where the U is, trying to make it seem like the Tulsi is a bad word to say. That's how much they must hate Tulsi Gabbard.
Well, she's a Russian asset,
Yeah, she's a what did Hillary Clinton say? If the nesting doll fits.
Yeah, did you see too that they're saying Mike Bloomberg spent $500 million and he couldn't buy the election? These are the same people who said that the Russians bought the 2016 election with $100,000 in Facebook ads. I guess they got a better bang for their buck than than Mike Bloomberg did.
Man's practicing fuzzy math again.
I just want to thank Brian Williams for really shining a light on the incompetence of the left and the way they do math. I'm going to start calling it Brian Williams math. It's a beautiful thing. Everyone should know this, that this is the amount, the lack of thought that goes into these programs at night, that someone made that graphic and no one caught it. It's amazing. Anyway, Howie, on the other side, I have more Mitt Romney news and Starbucks news that has to do with the coronavirus.
All right. Brian Williams' new name is Fuzzy Williams, as in fuzzy math. If you're like me and everyone else I know, you love free stuff. Tonight, I got an invitation to a free meal near where I live in Palm Beach, and I love getting free food. But nothing compares to the free meat that you're going to get when you sign up for Butcher Box today. If you don't like going out and shopping, you're worried about interacting in the supermarkets or at the butcher shop, Butcher Box is the perfect solution. Butcher Box is the perfect solution, even if you're not concerned about coronavirus. Butcher Box is the best meat available. It is fantastic. It's beef, poultry, pork, fish, everything. It's great stuff, and you can handpick the box, what you want in it, from the comfort and privacy of your own home. It'll be delivered right to your doorstep. And now, for a limited time, Butcher Box is throwing in 2 pounds of delicious grass-fed, organic, free-range, hormone-free ground beef in every box for the life of your subscription when you sign up today. In addition to their ground beef, all the meat you get from ButcherBox is humanely raised the way it's meant to be, with no added hormones or antibiotics ever. And you don't have to go to the supermarket. You don't have to leave your home to get ButcherBox. From chicken, pork, and steak to seafood like salmon and scallops, ButcherBox has more than 20 different cuts of meat to choose from. And their website is loaded with awesome recipes that the whole family will love. Sign up for ButcherBox today, and for a limited time, get free ground beef with the life of your subscription, plus $20 off your first box at butcherbox.com/Howie. That's butcherbox.com/Howie. Butcherbox.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Body Rituals of Dover, New Hampshire. Body Rituals specializes in classic and alternative techniques like advanced massage, energy practices, light touch, and deep muscle therapies. Go to bodyritualswellness.com for more information.
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. He's Howie Carr.
We will bring over your entire family from the third world Muslim hellhole that they live in so that they can have an all expenses paid, taxpayer funded with open bar weekend at a nice hotel in Boston, get a nice sightseeing tour, maybe take them to Fenway Park for a game so they can see their savage Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the president of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship. It's just authoritarian now, but let's call it Red China.
The Subaru of New England, Washington's birthday sales event lasts all month long. Feel the freedom in the all-new all-wheel drive 2020 Subaru Outback with standard LED headlights, starting at only $26,645 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months, or lease for only $249 per month for 36 months with $2449 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Did you miss Howie's latest interview with Joe DeGeneva? Sometimes the chump line is so hilarious, you just want to hear it twice.
Hi, Howie. Governor Patrick calling.
And who says you can't listen to Police Splatter Facts Friday on a Monday morning ride into work?
Grace, I was remiss in not asking you this. What was the bear's name?
Ralph.
Ralph?
Well, with the Howie Carr Show podcast, you can listen to any episode whenever and wherever you want. Just go to howiecarrshow.com and click on latest episodes on the homepage. Or you can download the podcast via the Apple Podcast app. Leave us a 5-star review.
This is Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. I'm holding them up for the camera right now. I use some before I go on the air every day. I use some when I wake up in the morning. They make me feel a lot better. They're good for my health. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. Jared, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who will the fake Indian endorse? Biden, Bernie, or no one for a while?
No one for a while until she sees the smoke signals.
Leader in the clubhouse, no one for a while at 56. Biden has 35% and Bernie has 9%.
Yeah, I don't see her going with Bernie. Bernie knows her too well. He made the pro forma call after she was eliminated on, I guess, Wednesday, but he knew he wasn't going to get it. Sometimes you just got to make a call knowing nothing's going to happen. All right. Grace, what do you got? What else have you got?
All right, Howie. You cannot bring your mug to get filled at Starbucks anymore. I guess they had this policy where you could bring in your own mug,
Really?
but they won't be doing that anymore because it's not hygienic.
I can't bring my mug because I don't have a mug from Starbucks. Starbucks is too expensive for my taste.
Now you just have to use paper cups like a normal person.
How does this do anything? If you're bringing in your mug, you're bringing in yourself. If you're going to Starbucks, you're there. And if you've got the virus, you're spreading it. Your mug has nothing to do with it.
I think it's more like they don't know how clean your mug is, and then they're touching
You
your
don't know
mug.
how clean you are, and you're coming in and doing all this stuff.
But you're passing off something that's been touched by your mouth to another person in their hands. It's all about mouth to hand contact when it comes to this stuff.
My feeling is when your number's up, your number's up.
That's right.
I mean, it's as simple as that. If you're
gonna get it, you're gonna get it.
I'm not saying.
And guess what? Even if you get it, you're probably going to be okay.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying that I'm scared of getting it or anything. All I'm saying is they shouldn't have been having this mug policy from the beginning. Everyone can use a paper cup once a day if they go into Starbucks. You don't need to be hauling your grody mug into Starbucks and taking it out of your grody bag so that you can save like a leaf from a tree. Get a cup and move on with your life. I'm sick of this.
This is just a way for Starbucks to charge full price all the time, because if you have your own mug, I believe you get a discount.
Everybody's using this for their own advantages. The Democrats are blaming Trump, and they're now calling for a return to plastic bags in New York State.
You don't say.
I think that's a good move. I mean, no crisis should go to waste, right? Isn't that what Rahm Emanuel said? So
well, Howie,
we want the plastic bags back wherever they're gone.
Howie, you know who's thriving more than anybody right now? It's Purell.
Yeah.
They're having more success than they know what to do with.
I know. There's a lot of stuff that's not available on the supermarket shelves anymore, like masks. I'm Howie Carr.
There's an old saying in politics: if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bull. Well, we here at Matthews Brothers never really agreed with that practice. No, sir. We've always held to the belief that people are generally smart enough to tell the difference between chicken gumbo and chicken guano. So when it comes to important stuff like structural and thermal performance of our windows and doors, we just stick to the facts. Sadly, even the remodeling industry has its share of those who hide behind hyperbole, provide mis- and disinformation, or lurch from one confusing sale of the month to another. So often you have to wonder if they even have a regular selling price. But thanks to good old Al Gore and his invention of the internet, it's now possible for the average consumer, from the comfort of their own living room, to search for windows and doors that are structurally superior, or thermally superior, or aesthetically superior, or backed by the industry's best warranty. Or they can see them all in person, but only at Better Lumberyards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word? Poop. Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop? Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt B has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? If it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We thought, we were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. J-O-B-S, jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name BB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. One of our regular texters, Paul, the UPS guy, he's got a good point here about Starbucks. Will Starbucks still be taking your gross, dirty cash to pay for their crappy, overpriced coffee? Exactly. And incidentally, you know, Mike Bloomberg, you know, he banned or tried. I think he did ban 32-ounce soft drink containers because he said nobody should be ingesting that much sugar. Now, are they going to bring back the 32-ounce containers? Because then you don't have 2 chances to get the coronavirus from an infected cup. You only got 1 chance, right? None of this stuff makes any sense, though, or very, very little of it does. I mean, of course, you want to, you know, try to avoid getting the coronavirus, but how much can you really do about it if your number's up? 844-500-4242. Let me just read you a couple more of these. Elizabeth Warren staffers weeping the buckets on social media. Does anyone in Logan Square have a pug that I can hang out with? I don't know. Is that Logan Square? I think it's Chicago. I think there's one in Philadelphia too, though. I think it's probably Chicago. Feels like someone should have put the liquor store and bar down the street on notice this AM. Please help me pay my student loans so I can rest for just like a week before I get back up and fight. Update. I am not fine, but don't worry, I will be. Please don't call and ask me about next steps or how I am doing. I guess I can read all the books I bought now. One former Warren organizer tweeted, my advice, Snowflake, start with the Communist Manifesto. It's not that long. 844-500-4242. Oh, you can keep the music going. I want to play some of this. This is what Grace was talking about from Twitchy, which is Michelle Malkin's Twitter website. And she ran this thread from a woman named Sherry Pagato, who was a professor at the University of Connecticut and a clinical psychologist. I shared the news of Warren's exit with my 12-year-old daughter tonight. Her response wasn't of sadness and anger. It was much worse than that. We began. I don't know how long I can take this. Elizabeth Warren dropped out of the presidential race today. No more women in the running. Don't tell that to Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, she's a Russian asset. I forgot, even though she is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, has been for 3 or 4 terms. Even though she's a major in the U.S. Army Reserve, she doesn't count. This is Sherry Pagodo. At 8 years old, my daughter made Hillary signs with her crayons and scotch taped them to the telephone poles along the street. She loved to wear the homemade Hillary Hill shirt, which earned her fist bumps and thumbs up from strangers. Then election night, 2016. Being 8 years old and all, she knocked out by 8 p.m., right before the wind shifted. When I told her the news in the morning, she accused me of lying. I said, no, baby, I'm serious. She lost. She wrote Hillary a letter because she worried Hillary might be upset. 214 says the Warren staffers are all barely hanging on to the ragged edge of a bar stool. So true, so true. Still holding strong, she marched to Boston Common at the March for Our Lives. Oh, they drove up to Boston to take part in did they wear their little pink hats?
You have to ask.
So, what can I do now to revive her spirit? At 12, she's too hardened for the innocent hope generated by pinky promises. Do I wait 4 years to hatch Dr. Pagato? Just tell her that in 4 years, Ivanka Trump will be running. Maybe against AOC, if AOC is not frightened of a garbage disposal in 4 years. All right, that's it. 844-500-4242. That's the total news here today. Speaking of young women and being frightened, this was in North Reading. A young woman went out. She has a Trump sticker on the back of her parents' car. And this is what happened. I wonder if Dr. Sherry Pagato wants to comment on that. She came out from doing a little bit of shopping. Maybe she even went to Starbucks. She came out, and this is what was on the under the windshield wipers of her car. We will not cry. We will say bye to the modern day dictator. And at long last, liberals fight. I know I could kick your ass. 2 exclamation points. They posted that on social media. That's really that's a Bernie bro did that. He's confident that he could kick the rear end of a 16-year-old girl. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon. Man faces 4 years in assault of man wearing hat. Too many mans here in this headline makes me think that perhaps there's an illegal alien involved here. Of man wearing hat with "Make America Great Again" in Russian. A California man is accused of assaulting another person at a Los Angeles area bar over a hat that read "Make America Great Again" in Russian, is facing 4 years in prison. David Delgato, 32, pleaded no contest Wednesday to a felony count of assault by means of force likely to produce great bodily injury in the attack at a Hermoso Beach bar. So if he's pleaded guilty to a felony count of assaulting a guy wearing a MAGA hat, then he's not accused of assault. He's convicted of assault. You think he'll get 4 years? I don't think so. David Delgado, no, I don't think he's going to get 4 years for assaulting an American wearing a MAGA hat in Russian. He followed the guy into the restroom and said, hey, what's on the hat? What does that mean? And the guy told him, "Make America Great Again." And that's when he went crazy. 844-500-4242. I told you yesterday about the indictment of the president of the United Auto Workers, former president of United Auto Workers, for stealing. He spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on what the feds described as lavish entertainment and personal spending. He allegedly spent $13,000 on cigars. The feds say union money also paid for golf outings, high-end booze, spa services, amusement park tickets, luxury condos and villas, and meals at pricey restaurants. Well, you wouldn't expect him to go to a diner, would you? He's a member of the trade union movement. So the feds have spent years investigating corruption at the UAW, 400,000 active members, probably, 40 years ago, there were 1.5 million, 2 million members. They're down to 400,000, but they're still stealing like there's no tomorrow. So far, 13 other UAW pinky ring boys have pleaded guilty in connection to the probe, including 2 former UAW vice presidents. So the Labor Department audits unions. And in 2016, when Obama was president, nearly 1 in 5 such inspections led to criminal charges against the members of the Brotherhood, the leadership of the Brotherhood. And as the Wall Street Journal points out today, imagine if 20% of all investigations of businesses ended up with a criminal charge. Democrats would be going wild with hearings about the moral crisis of capitalism. Since January 1st of last year, at least 60 pinky ring thugs in labor unions have been convicted or pleaded guilty to union-related crimes, according to the Department of Labor. Last month, the jury found a guy named John Romero guilty of stealing nearly $800,000 from the health plan fund of the United Industrial Service Workers of America, where he was president. Union money helped pay off the loan on a Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 for Mr. Romero's son. Want more? Adonis Duplessis, former president of the union representing employees of the Smithsonian Institute and the Kennedy Center. In other words, this is a public sector union. I think they're even more corrupt than private sector unions, the ones I'm familiar with. Pleaded guilty last fall to using union cash to pay for an online dating service, a Smith & Wesson handgun, and Armani clothes. Want more? How about the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union, Local 1208? Keith Ludlam, a former union president, pleaded guilty 2 months ago to embezzling more than $200,000. Some of that money from Local 1208 went towards trips to SeaWorld, a resort in the Dominican Republic. I wonder if he ran into Senator Menendez from New Jersey and his ophthalmologist friend from West Palm. And their younger, shall we say, friends. And a shopping spree at Michael Kors. The list goes on. As the Wall Street Journal says, keep this shameful record in mind when Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden say they want Congress to repeal right-to-work laws in 27 states. They claim to want to protect workers, but both candidates would lock workers into union membership and coerce dues payments, even when their labor bosses are crooks and thieves. Workers should have the ability to look after their own interest and opt out of paying dues, since union leaders are too often in it for themselves. Having lived in a state for most of my life without a right to work law, Massachusetts, I know what it's like to have to pay those union dues. Although in my case, they were just used to support Democrat candidates who were doing their best to work against my and my fellow workers' interests. We didn't have to worry about them stealing any money. I guess we were some of the lucky union brothers. Online shopping is supposed to be easy. It is. It is in many cases. That's, as I say, that's where I get my used mystery books. That's oftentimes the books cost less than the shipping and handling. It's great. The only problem is finding the coupon codes that actually work and save me money. With Honey, you can get those coupon codes a lot more easily. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the little Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web, then watch your price drop. I've already saved money just as a member of Honey for a couple of weeks. This morning, I went on to a dog web, a canine, a pet website, just to see if I could rent a dog, just because I wanted to talk about Bailey the dog and see if there were dogs, golden retrievers, available for rent. And as soon as I got on the website, the little thing that popped down from Honey, and it told me if I made any purchases or rentals of dogs at this website, I would get a discount coupon from Honey. It's great. I didn't rent a dog. I have a dog, but it was great to know. I mean, there's so many places you can go to online to shop that Honey is going to save you lots of money. Grace can tell you about it. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more, including Rover.com. Honey has found over $2 billion in savings. That's why it has over 500,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. I'll bet you're doing more shopping online if you're concerned about coronavirus. This is a good way to save money as you're not having to worry about going outside and being infected. Plus, it's free to use and installs in just a few seconds. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/Howie, and then rent yourself a golden retriever like Elizabeth Warren has, and you'll get a discount on it. That's joinhoney.com/Howie, joinhoney.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you today in part by the Conversations with Grace podcast. Hear Grace's compelling conversation with former Maine Governor Paul LePage. Never before heard stories and political news too. All at HowieCarrShow.com.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much, but no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time up at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
This is Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and this is The Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. 207 says, you want to rent a dog? What's up with you? No, we were talking about renting dogs yesterday because we were wondering if Bailey was actually a rented canine. And so a friend of mine called me today and said, there are websites you can go to rent a dog. And he gave me the names of a couple of them. So I went to one, and there I saw the honey pop down and said, you can get a discount if you buy the any kind of pet services. I was surprised. I was surprised you could rent a dog online. And then I was surprised that I could get a discount from Honey. 845-500-4242. Honey really works. Check it out. Nick, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Nick. You there, Nick? Mark, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mark.
How are you, Howie? I'm calling you from Staten Island, New York. Former Bay Stater that moved down here 37 years ago. And God, we're a mess down here.
Are you going to get your paper bags? Are you going to get your plastic? Mark, are you going to get your plastic bags back now with the coronavirus emergency? That's what the New York Post is saying.
5 cents a piece.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? And that's 5 cents for paper bags, isn't it? You can't even get a plastic bag, right?
No, they let it go another month. They're going to give us 30 days grace to get our plastics in order. But if you get caught with a straw, you get a summons. So you got to be real careful.
First, they came from
we got a governor that names the bridge after his father at 4 a.m.
The Tappan
We got
Zee.
Chuck Schumer. Oh, yeah. Chuck's worried about how much foot space you got on the airplanes and does your overhead fit. Meanwhile, he'll take any nickel he can get his hands on. Sheldon Silver hasn't spent a day in jail yet.
That's the convicted assembly speaker. And then the new speaker still won't change the bail reform laws, even though crime is out of control because they've made it all the courthouses into revolving doors. Even if you get charged with a major felony, they're not going to keep you behind bars. It's ridiculous. And he won't do anything about it. He says, oh, these are just anecdotes about these crimes. The New York Post is blowing this stuff up. It's not true. The police commissioner yesterday in New York City read all the statistics about how crime is way up, out of control, because all these criminals aren't being locked up anymore, Mark. What are you doing? This is terrible down there. You got to elect some Republicans.
It's absolutely true. And, here's de Blasio for you. He gives his wife $850 million to do a mental health program, and nobody has asked where the money is. They've asked, nobody's got an answer. And now he just gave her another $200 million to do prenatal. So once they couldn't figure out the adults, now they're going to work on the kids that can't speak. And they put up 600 more speeding cameras so we can get plenty of money to funnel to her.
Mark, is he going to run her for mayor like George Wallace ran Lurleen Wallace, his wife, for governor when he was term limited? I've been reading stories about
they said
that. He's thinking
going
of
to
it.
run her for borough president.
Borough president in Brooklyn?
I can't believe it. The whole city council, Stringer wants to be the mayor.
What a mess. I'm Howie Carr. Did you already blow it on your New Year's resolution? Didn't stick to that trendy new diet plan? Stop the roller coaster and get the weight off for good. People still say to me, wow, Howie, you look really great with all that weight off. But it's a lot more than looking better. It really is about feeling better, too. For me, it's about not having to wear a CPAP mask in order to sleep through the night. I'm able to go on bike rides every day. Sometimes I go on 2 or 3. I have much lower blood pressure, a lot more energy. I still eat what I want to eat, but unlike before the sleeve, now I don't overeat. Get the weight off for good. Call Newton Wellesley Weight Loss Center. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. Don't procrastinate any longer. Whatever your age, whatever your gender, do it. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of 2 poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort,
Hey, Howie.
FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. So what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. So are we allowed to grow?
I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stair.
Howie?
Playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely.
Or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
The word that's helping Elizabeth Warren get through her so-so campaign? So.
Will you raise taxes on the middle class to pay for it? Yes or no?
So the way I see this, so understand, taxing income is not going to get you where you need to be the way taxing wealth does. So no, and I'm not here to criticize other Democrats. So my proposal is that student loan debt would be canceled up to $50,000.
So, Elizabeth, can you put this issue to bed and tell us whether or not you are, in fact, a member of a minority group?
So, middle-class families.
Why did you list yourself as an American Indian on this Texas bar application?
So, I grew up out in Oklahoma. So look.
Why did you check those boxes?
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview
better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie.
Hey, Howie, it's Taylor. I'm taking over the board.
Okay.
Did what Schumer did, they'd be in jail right now.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We have a behavioral problem, and I think the leaders of Congress owe it to the American people to act like adults.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math.
Sometimes I see an equation written on a blackboard, like half an equation. I'll just figure it out.
He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true.
Math is counting all your friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's adding and subtracting. All you have to do is try.
Let's try.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
People don't like her. She's a very mean person, and people don't like her. People don't want that.
We are responsible for the people who claim to be our supporters and do really threatening, ugly, dangerous things.
You also have some information, new information on the Dayton shooter.
Yes, he identified himself as part of the left. He tweeted about Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders.
We are responsible.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Which was made by Joe. Okay, I didn't want to say Sleepy Joe because I want to be respected. I want to respect him.
Well, you got.
He looks like he's going to be a candidate, and I just say, how did that happen?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome. 413, our text, one of our texters says, how sick are CNN and SNBC? President Trump is at the CDC in Atlanta, and he flew down there today. He wasn't going to go down there. They said there was a problem with one of the workers was infected, but now it turns out he's not. So the president flew down, and he's giving vital corona information with the lab techs and doctors, assuring the nation against panicking about the situation. The fake news aren't even showing it. They are so evil. You weren't expecting them to, were you? Russia's right, though. They've kind of backed off. The panic that they so obviously are, maybe they're not promoting it per se, but they're invested in it. That they would not be displeased if there was more panic and there was an economic slowdown. There was no slowdown today. They announced the February job numbers, 273,000 new jobs, 100,000 more than most of the economists were predicting. So that obviously disappointed the alt-left mainstream media. So they're just going to give any kind of reassurances. They're just going to move on. They're not talking too much about Chuck Schumer either. His threats to the Supreme Court yesterday. And it turns out that remember when the Roger Stone, the case in the Roger Stone case, Amy Berman Jackson is her name. She's a super Obama leftist, a real Stalinist type of judge. She's still got a gag order on poor Roger Stone, sentenced him to 40 months in prison for threatening a dog's life. Schumer threatens two Supreme Court justices, says they're going to reap the whirlwind, and they don't care about that. Just nothing to see here, folks. Move along. It turns out when Trump tweeted out saying, "I don't much like Judge Jackson. I don't think she's a very good judge." Schumer sent out a tweet or an email to Chief Justice Roberts saying, "You've got to defend Judge Jackson against this terrible assault." Trump was just complaining about the way she was conducting the trial and the aftermath of the trial and the sentencing. Now this guy, Schumer, goes up and points at the Supreme Court building and threatens the judges. And he said, "Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing." Anyway, 844-500-4242. Time now for the Chump Line.
the New York Times editorial board have more gray matter than some of Mikey's farmers?
You know, I'd forgotten all about what Mike Bloomberg said about farmers, but you're right. I mean, who's smarter, your average farmer or a member of the New York Times editorial board who thinks that Mike Bloomberg could have given away $1 million to every American?
Oi, Howie, Scott Brown call from down under, Governor. Crikey, I just heard that Elizabeth Warren dropped out of the race. My heart feels like a crocodile, mate.
Put another shrimp on the barbie for me, Senator, and crack open another Foster's Lager. And please, nothing on, no texter saying that's Australia stuff, not New Zealand. It's close enough. Happy. The Chump Line is brought to you every weekday at this time by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, whose wicked awesome windows and doors are only available through Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals.
If Goon is 18, in dog years, doesn't that make you two practically twins? You old bag.
I didn't come here to be made sport of, and neither did Mr. Gooner. So, you know, and Mr. Gooner doesn't plan to go to Logan Square, whether it's in Chicago or Philadelphia or Hyde Park, to be some snowflake Elizabeth Warren supporter's service pug for her mourning period.
Oh, cut Brian Williams some slack. It was probably a dead body floating by the window while he was doing the calculation. Get distracted, you know?
He's shell-shocked, okay? It was tough. He was almost killed by that anti-aircraft fire that exploded around him, or he thought it exploded, or he said it exploded around him. 508 says on Yahoo today, they said the great jobs report for February was unexpected. I bet it was. And you know what else it was for Yahoo and CNN and MSNBC? It was disappointing.
Don't worry about Bernie, Howie. They'll throw him another lakefront house and a couple of Wendy's coupons, and he'll be fine.
I don't think he's a Wendy's guy. I think his tastes have gotten a little more highfalutin, even though he still has the Bernie bros and calls everybody comrades and supports a wealth tax on everyone but him.
Hey, Howie, I was really looking forward to President Warren's pinky promises with all the world leaders.
By the way, we don't know. They came into the studio and turned down the lights here, so people are on social media are saying, "What the hell's going on with the lights?" It's not because my facelift is sagging, because I don't have a facelift. Okay.
Hey, you know, Howie, you look pretty good for a guy who's lost 100 million pounds.
That's some fuzzy math there, right, President Bush? Fuzzy math.
I can't let the man continue with fuzzy math.
Mara Gay. She's a graduate of the University of Michigan. Can't blame this one on the Atlantic Coast Conference. This is Big Ten embarrassment.
Universal basic income. Everybody gets $1 million.
Yeah, this is why Andrew Yang is out of the race. You know, he only promised $1,000 a month. If only he'd have known $1 million. It's so simple, as Brian Williams and the woman from the New York Times said. Why didn't we think of this before?
Yeah, this is Mikey Bloomberg. I'm stuck inside a 34-ounce Slurpee cup. Can somebody help me out? I don't want to drown.
Mike had autocratic, authoritarian tendencies when he was mayor of New York. I wonder how he'd be handling the coronavirus. I'm sure there would be some edicts from his Department of Health. He would be cracking down on not just on public health problems, but also on fun. He has a problem with other people having fun. His fun, though, don't mess with him. He likes to ride around his golf cart in Bermuda on the weekends. That's how he spent all of his years as mayor.
And third place goes to Elizabeth Warren. You dislike me. You really, really dislike me.
Was it the woman or was it Warren? The women of America must be so self-hating because they didn't vote for Elizabeth Warren any more than the men did.
Is that the point of all these op-eds and tweets and Instagrams since Super Tuesday?
Hey, Williams, if Bloomberg could give everybody $1 million, how about getting $2 million from Jeff Bezos? You dolt.
How much could Jeff Bezos? Jeff Bezos has got, what, $100 billion more than Mike Bloomberg? He just spent $165 million on a single-family residence for his girlfriend. He bought it from David Geffen. $165 million.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, whose wicked awesome windows and doors are only available through Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals.
If Goon is 18 in dog years, doesn't that make you two practically twins? You old bag.
That's age abuse. Not on me, but on Mr. Gooner. Gooner doesn't appreciate such terrible ageist taunts. Next thing you know, you're going to be saying that Uncle Joe has lost a little something off the old fastball. I'm Howie Carr.
If you change the station, the Moonbats win. You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Honest Howie's History Podcast. Hear about Joe Kennedy's potential run against Ed Markey for the U.S. Senate and learn how history repeats itself. Available now at HowieCarrShow.com.
As the 2020 presidential campaigns heat up, there's plenty of talk about what's best for the country. The question is, at what cost and who will be impacted by any of the proposed ideas? If you're near retirement, you need to make sure your portfolio is ready for whatever happens. Call Kevin Frisbee of Frisbee & Associates for a no-cost, no-obligation analysis of your current plan. Call 800-989-9100. Kevin and his team will stress test your portfolio to discover any hidden fees. They can help develop a solid income plan that will make sure you never run out of money, despite what the politicians might have in mind. What about Social Security? When to claim is a huge decision. Kevin is there to create a plan that gives you options to maximize your benefits. Schedule your free consultation now. 800-989-9100. And catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon as he reviews the market. 800-989-9100. 800-989-9100.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK.
The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan.
8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way.
But if Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, and the demagogues around the world. We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce.
I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP? Yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing? The bills that the future president here, that the senator's talking about.
The Subaru of New England, Washington's birthday sales event lasts all month long. Feel the freedom in the all-new, all-wheel drive 2020 Subaru Outback with standard LED headlights, starting at only $26,645 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months. Or lease for only $249 per month for 36 months with $2449 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
Your teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble with some of the things I say. But I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, for me, it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
This is Chris in Rochester, Mass.
This is Mark in Nashville, New Hampshire.
This is Lorna in Truckstown, Pennsylvania. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beats. I'm holding them up right now and for the camera. Super Beats. I have some before every show. I have some in the morning when I wake up. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who will the fake Indian endorse? Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, or nobody for a while?
Nobody for a while.
57% say nobody.
I'm just big breaking news. Speaking of endorsements, Deval Patrick to endorse Biden, adding to frontrunners' moderate coalition. What did he get? Like 1/10 of 1% in his home state formerly his home state. I don't know if
We're going to be fine.
He's going to, wow, that should make a big difference in Michigan and Mississippi and all the other places that are voting Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Boston Globe, they always said that Radio Moscow, after Joe Stalin died in 1953, they tried to get people ready for it. They were playing funereal music for hours. And then it just went on. The funeral went on for days, if not weeks, even though he was probably poisoned by his rivals in the Kremlin. I feel the same way about Elizabeth Warren as I look at the Globe. I mean, it's still all Elizabeth Warren. I mean, she was eliminated 3 days ago. She made it official yesterday. How much more of the mourning do we need? How long the wakes usually go on 2 to 4 and 7 to 9, right? I mean, how long do we have to sit Shiva for her, as the Jewish people say? Okay, let me read you some stories. What's next for Elizabeth Warren? Now, another story underneath that. Elizabeth Warren, sitting at her kitchen table, I assume she was drinking a Michelob Light, reflects on her run. I thought it was worth fighting for another approach. Then we have 2 columns. One, is Warren's pinky promise of women in power too big a hope? And another column by women. Elizabeth Warren's loss and ours. Next story. Warren supporters in Michigan heartbroken and saddened. They're not glad. I'm gladdened. Way next move. And another one. Here's why Warren won't endorse Biden or Sanders right away. So that is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories on Elizabeth Warren. How about this for a headline? Elizabeth Warren still dead. 844-500-4242. 603 says Warren's chief demographic support was from Harpy journalists. This will go on for a while. Oh boy. You know, the FISA court, the courts, the federal courts, and so are the state courts, are really concerned when they put their decisions out with making sure everything is properly done in terms of grammar and syntax and spelling. And there are very few typos in court decisions because they really work hard at it. Even if it's a crackpot decision, usually everything, all the facts, if not the opinions, are in line. But just to give you a good indication of how crooked the FISA courts are, the judge issued an opinion on the head judge Boasberg. He's the Obama appointee. This is the secret court that approved all of the deep state, police state, banana republic illegal surveillance on Carter Page to get to Donald Trump. And so they had a ruling, and it was a very tepid ruling, considering this is the biggest scandal in American political history. But he said that the Boasberg, the judge, said that he would no longer allow any FBI agents, the crooked agents that were involved in the Russian hoax, to take part in any future hoaxes. That's about as far as he would go. But he's an Obama, left-wing jurist. He's a ideologue, a Mandarin for the deep state. But he was so careless in his opinion that in his ruling, he mistakenly said that Fusion GPS, that's the ones who came up with this bogus document, was actually hired to spy on Hillary Clinton, not Donald Trump. He got the major fact wrong. And it wasn't caught by the Washington Post, it was caught by the Washington Examiner. That's how sloppy they were. They don't care. I'm Howie Carr. Here is your last fair warning. This is your last chance to save big. If you haven't called New England Center for Hair Restoration for your $6,000 hair restoration, you better call today or you could miss out. All 40 slots from the original promotion have been filled, and I know there are still some of my listeners out there who could use a great hair restoration at an unbeatable price. You know who you are, and I'm talking to you. What are you waiting for? For the price to go back up? New England Center for Hair Restoration has extended this unbelievable price just for you. So please don't blow your chance. Address the problem and save $3,500 for qualifying patients. Take action. Money doesn't grow on trees. You can't afford not to do this. For those who qualify, third-party financing is available with monthly payments as low as $119. Call 800-313-HAIR for your free consultation. That's 800-313-HAIR. Call 800-313-HAIR or visit 6khair.com. 6khair.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island, you could only bring 3 things. What would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name BB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped, if you know what I mean. Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
Here's Donald Trump Jr. proving once and for all the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
They hate Trump more than they love America. For them to try to take a pandemic and seemingly hope that it comes here and kills millions of people so that they could end Donald Trump's streak of winning. I don't know if this is coronavirus or Trump derangement syndrome, but these people are infected badly. To make this guy into a religious scholar, that's like saying Jeffrey Dahmer is a purveyor of organic and fine exotic meats. Adam Schiff is basically the Jussie Smollett of Congress on steroids. Children are off limits. Remember this one? If 13-year-old Barron Trump is not off limits, Hunter Biden sure as is not off limits. Because my name is Trump, if I took $1.5 from China, not $1.5 billion like Hunter, their heads would explode.
Who is your favorite Democrat? Go ahead.
Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney's my favorite Democrat. How about that? Please, Lord, in my next life, make me a leftist so I can say anything and get away with it.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. It's that time of the week again. It's Friday evening. That means it's time for Police Blotter Facts Friday.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action.
You probably know how this works. All week long, we ask you to send in your funny items or stories from your local daily or weekly newspaper involving the local constabulary. Some newspapers have their own police written column. They call it the police log or the police blotter. It could be a standalone story. We ask you to send in the funny stories that you come across to grace@howiecarrshow.com. Email them to grace@howiecarrshow.com, or you can fax them to her. We still have a fax machine, 857-284-8864, 857-284-8864. And at this time, every Friday afternoon, evening, we read what we consider the funniest stories of the week, and the two winning the funniest entries of the week get a nice prize. What do they get this week, Grace?
They're going to get a copy of Kennedy Babylon 2. I'm getting very Kennedy Babylon 2 vibes from these police blotter faxes. That's all I'm going to say.
There must be alcohol involved.
Yeah, Howie, and actually, thank you for bringing me to my first runner-up, because there's a lot more than alcohol involved. There's also drugs, which we all know the Kennedys did not shy away from. especially a lot of the stories Howie writes about in Kennedy Babylon 1 and 2 with Dr. Feelgood. Naked woman tries to bite off man's privates during threesome.
You remember Lorena Bobbitt was a big story for a long time because it was such a unique incident, but it doesn't seem that unique anymore.
I totally agree. I look at that story now, and I mean, it probably has to do with the fact that I have to read like 6 of these stories a week, but I look back and I think, why was that such a big deal? I mean, I understand what she did was wrong, but it seems like it happens a lot more frequently. This happened in Hanahan, South Carolina. It happened on a Monday night. Wild Monday night.
Was this after Joe Biden's victory last week, his glorious win in the South Carolina primary?
Oh, do you think that's what got everyone in such a feisty mood?
Maybe.
And they were all passionate from celebrating. So this is what happened. The woman was allegedly high on heroin and meth when she attacked one of the men. She tried to bite off his privates. When officers went inside the apartment, they saw a bleeding naked woman coming at them on all fours. One of the officers said it was
on all fours?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a quote from one of the officers. Honestly, it was one of the most disturbing body cam videos I've ever seen in my career. It honestly reminded me of something you would see out of a horror movie.
Has anyone posted that yet on social media of some kind?
No, I don't think so. I'm sure the Boston Globe's just dying to get the video. That's on their list. It's the Kraft video, and then it's the woman on all fours video. All right. Driver dressed as Spider-Man exposed himself at intersection.
Spider-Man exposed himself?
Mm-hmm. And
this was the sequel. Or was it the prequel?
This is out of Virginia. A 44-year-old woman reported the incident. She was at a intersection when she was stopped when the man dressed in a Spider-Man costume in a 4-door sedan next to her exposed himself while making an obscene gesture. We can only imagine what that gesture was. Police said
Wait a second. This was in Virginia?
Yes.
Are we sure this wasn't someone dressed in a Klan outfit and maybe it was the governor? Where does the governor have an alibi for when this happened?
I have not asked him, Howie, but we should. It's important to know that. Police said
costumes are very big in the Commonwealth of Virginia, I've noticed.
I can't tell you where it was located because they added a map to this story, and some of the points in the map are a Golden Corral and then across the street a Cracker Barrel. So it happened at a very lively intersection.
Drops his pants.
Here comes Spider-Man. Very good. So then he exposed himself and the light changed and the woman drove away. So, she got off lucky because it could have been a lot worse.
Cracker Barrel. This seems more like the kind of thing that would happen outside of Denny's, an all-night diner.
Man accused of stealing $1,200 worth of champagne from market arrested. This is out of California.
$1,200 worth of champagne? Well, I guess it depends on the vintage, right? I mean, but that seems like it would be a pretty heavy load under most circumstances, right?
What's the label, Howie? Guess the label.
Piper Heidsieck.
Are we talking Dom Perignon?
It actually does not say what kind of champagne it was. I can tell you the name of the market, though, and that will probably help you decide.
Total Wine?
Nuggets Market.
I'm guessing
it wasn't Don Perignon.
I'm guessing it's more like sparkling wine masquerading as champagne.
23-year-old Michael Robert Carr.
Uh-oh.
It's Carr with a K, though, Howie, so you're okay.
Okay.
Was caught on surveillance video walking into the Nuggets Market store late last month.
Can you get some chicken nuggets to go with that champagne, by the way, at the Nuggets Market?
Howie, he took 14 bottles and walked out the door without paying.
So it was about $80, $90 a bottle.
Look at you, Brian Williams.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's right, Howie. It was $800 million a bottle. Oregon lawyer, 38, refuses to pay his strip club bill after a private $200 lap dance before fleeing through a train tunnel in a failed bid to outrun cops.
I'm guessing that there was alcohol involved in this incident, and it wasn't champagne, probably. Although they said they were giving her, the woman, the lap dancer, champagne. It was really ginger ale, though.
An attorney refused. He's an attorney, Howie.
Yes, he's a counselor.
An attorney refused to pay $200.
An officer of the court.
For a, you know what, Howie? $200 for a 15-minute lap dance. How much is that a minute for the lap dance?
It's about Brian Williams numbers. It's $50 million a minute.
Okay, cool. He was at a strip club before fleeing through a train tunnel on a police chase. Dylan T. Vinzant, 38, stormed out of the Sunset Strip Gentlemen's Club in Portland, Oregon, after refusing to pay for a private dance. The lawyer made a dash for it past bouncers and cut his face after
Dylan. His name is Dylan?
His name is Dylan.
He went into the Sunset Strip Gentlemen's Club. He was knocking on heaven's door.
He climbed a fence and landed in thorny blackberry bushes. It's not every day you see a blackberry bush. He then fled from police dogs. Howie, by racing across railway tracks and into a darkened train
Sounds like
tunnel.
The Fugitive.
Dun,
dun, dun, dun.
He went in there and agreed. This is what the cop said. He went in there and agreed to pay for a $200 for a 15-minute lap dance.
But imagine if he represents himself and gets out of it. What a billboard that should be.
Yes.
If I can get myself out of this jam, imagine what I can do for you.
Well, you know the old saying, any man who represents himself has a fool for a client. And I'm guessing Dylan is a big fool.
Unconscious driver crashes into mass alternative care marijuana shop in Chicopee.
An impaired shopper at a marijuana shop. By the way, Grace, when is the are you gonna be at the grand opening of Boston's first weed emporium?
I could do a man on the street. I have a recorder now.
You do?
Not the instrument, a recording device.
I saw the headline. I don't even know where is it. What neighborhood is that? Is the first pot shop opening up in?
I do not know, Howie, as I do not keep up with the marijuana fans of this state, but I'm sure people will text in and tell us.
You'll know because there'll be traffic jams, probably extending into most neighborhoods in the city once it opens up. They don't have to go to Brookline or wherever anymore.
And there'll be a shortage of Cheetos in whatever poor city that this takes place in. A driver who apparently fell asleep at the wheel early Monday morning went off the road and through a fence and slammed into the side of Mass Alternative Care, the city's first marijuana retailer. The driver, whose name was not disclosed to the press, suffered minor injuries. Police estimate the car was traveling in excess of the posted 30-mile-per-hour speed limit when it went off the road.
Bill Weld could not be reached for comment.
Oh, Howie, the new pot place is going to be in Dorchester. It's very close to me.
It's a big area, Dorchester. What part of Dorchester?
Taylor doesn't know. He's shrugging. By the way, Blue Hill Ave.
What does Taylor care? There's 17 pot shops in Fall River, right? The former mayor got a payoff for every one of them, didn't he? That's what the federal indictment said.
He doesn't care. He's doing his job as the producer and filling us in on where it is. I don't think he's jealous of us. Oh, by the way, guys, this segment is brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. We love Piantadosi bread, and Joe Piantadosi is the best, so make sure you try it at your local markets or wherever you are. Look for Piantadosi Baking Company. Okay, Howie, you're going to love this story. State delegate arrested for DUI. A state delegate from Prince George's County, Maryland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. This a legislator, a state rep, in other words. They call them delegates in some states like Maryland.
Was arrested early Sunday for allegedly driving under the influence. An officer was driving and saw a car exit a parking lot and failed to yield the right of way, causing the officer to swerve to avoid being struck. The officer pulled over the car and made contact with its driver, Jewel Walker. The officer.
Okay, so now we're on the fourth paragraph, and we haven't had a party identification yet, leading me to believe that Jewel Walker is a Democrat.
I have a few more paragraphs to get to until we will figure out what party.
Okay,
he's in.
so you're building suspense now as you read
Yes.
this story. Okay.
Yes, you know, I'm a thespian.
Oh,
I know how to deliver a good line.
I'm on the edge of my seat trying to figure out whether Jewel is a Democrat or a Republican.
It's a 50-50 shot, Howie. It's a 50-50 shot. The officer conducted field sobriety tests, then arrested Walker, who was subsequently taken to the detention center and charged with driving under the influence. The Washington Post reports Walker, 48, has temporarily stepped down as vice chair of the House's Alcoholic Beverages Subcommittee.
Well, chair. So I assume there's a Democrat majority in the Maryland House of Delegates. So, but do we ever identify her as a D, or do we just have to infer
Howie,
this?
I have one more line left in the whole story.
Okay.
Walker, a Democrat, was first elected in 2006. I told you we'd get there.
Thanks to the Washington Post for working it in to right at the top of the story. How many people got to the last paragraph? Next to none, perhaps?
Yes, probably none. Howie, when we get back, I have a few more runners up, and then I have our two big winners.
Okay. You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. Grace can tell you too. Super Beets gives you a real rush. It makes you feel a lot better. You can put just a little spoon of it in a glass of water, stir it up and drink it down, and you'll suddenly have a burst of energy.
Howie, I'm about to go take a spoonful of Super Beets right now for the last segment to deliver the winners.
There it is. I'm holding it up right now for social media. It's a great product. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow. Better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets. I don't like the taste of regular beets. You probably don't either, but Super Beets is different. It's unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of delicious Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. This level of research is unheard of in the nutrition category. These are just some of the reasons why I love Super Beets and why they've worked for me and for Grace and for Taylor. To try Super Beets risk-free for 90 days, visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie and get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase. That's www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the maestro of microaggression. He's Howie Carr. Traveling throughout New England, Howie Carr's got you covered with more than 25 stations across the region. Go to HowieCarrShow.com to learn how you can listen to Howie wherever the road takes you.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets.
The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases is people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If Mr. Gooner was a person, what college would she attend?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
Is Mr. Gooner a conservative or a Democrat?
Mr. Gooner is a fiscal conservative and a social liberal.
If you could have dinner with any president, dead or alive, who would it be?
Calvin Coolidge. He was from Massachusetts, and I liked his attitude towards public sector unions. And he said, the business of America is business. He's my guy.
Other than yourself, which columnist do you respect the most?
The late George Fraser, he was a columnist for the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe. Most people have forgotten him now. Jimmy Cannon was pretty good. He was so good that Mike Barnacle used to steal stuff from him all the time. Breslin was good in his early days, not so good later on, but when he was working for the Herald Tribune back when I was a kid in New York, he was damn good.
This is Karen from Billerica, Massachusetts.
This is Adrian in Swanton, Vermont.
This is Miss Susan up in Warner, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Back to Police Blotter Facts Friday. 617 texts in, is Delegate Jewel Walker any relation to Johnny Walker?
I don't know what I don't know what his drink of choice is, Howie, but
I tell you what, though, Grace, I just looked him up online. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what his background is? He was drafted, according to Wikipedia, by the New England Patriots in 1994 in the seventh round.
Wow.
I don't think he lasted too long because the name does not ring a bell. But
Yes.
he was a seventh round pick in 94 as a quarterback.
How times have changed, unfortunately. All right, Howie, I'm actually going to get to our winners because they're really good ones this week. Cops find meth and baby squirrel in woman's purse during traffic stop. This is out of Oklahoma.
Meth and baby squirrel.
Things took a strange turn after officers discovered meth in a baby squirrel. Police said that Heidi Calterhan was sitting in the passenger seat when the vehicle was pulled over for speeding. Inside the car, officers found roughly 1 pound of methamphetamine along with scales and baggies.
1 pound, that's a lot.
When they searched her purse, they were shocked to find a baby squirrel along with a dropper of baby formula.
What was the squirrel's name, Grace?
The squirrel's name was Rufus.
Okay.
Rufus the baby squirrel. You have the same reaction every time I tell you a name. You go, okay. Is that she explained that she was caring for the squirrel.
What did she tell him? It's not mine. I didn't put that there.
She explained that she was caring for the squirrel after her son found it during a tree trimming job. Officers took her into custody on charges possessions of wildlife during a closed season. It is unclear if they were cited for drugs. Seems like they would be for a pound of meth.
How old?
Possession of wildlife is a charge? I've never
How
heard of that
old
before.
was she?
It actually does not say. A lady never tells her age, Howie, even if she does carry baby squirrels in her purse.
Okay. Where was
And
that from,
next
by
up-
the way?
That was from Oklahoma,
Oh,
Glenpool, Oklahoma. And Howie, you're going to love this because there's another animal in the news. Ohio police remove alligator living in man's basement for 25 years.
It must have been a pretty big alligator because they keep growing as long as they live, right? What was the alligator's name?
The alligator's name was actually, and I'm not making this up, not to say that I ever make it up, but it's Alli, Allie. Allie the alligator. This man, that's what he named the alligator.
It's getting tougher and tougher to get alligator permits these days.
Well, Taylor, it's funny you should say that. Thank you for the segue. Police were recently called to an Ohio home to remove a large alligator that had been living in the basement for 25 years. I guess this alligator was living in a tub with nothing but water and a sump pump. Its owner, Dusty Rhodes. This sounds fake.
Dusty Rhodes.
It's from Fox News, so I know it's actually real, but it sounds fake. Its owner, Dusty Rhodes, told the TV station that he got Allie at a reptile flea market. I just got him when he was about a foot long. I've had him ever since.
I am unfamiliar with reptile flea markets. Do they have flea reptile markets too?
You are, Howie? That shocks me. A man with
I'm going to drive around this weekend in Palm Beach County looking for a reptile flea
You're
market.
such a cultured man. I cannot believe you haven't been to one of these. The alligator was checked out to be of average health. Rhodes was in possession of the alligator without an exotic animal permit, Taylor, but avoided being cited after agreeing to voluntarily surrender the alligator to state wildlife.
How can you call an alligator exotic in Florida? There are millions of them.
It was in Ohio, wasn't it?
It was in Ohio.
Well,
but Howie, also 25 years.
It's certainly you can't call it a wild animal either, because it's been a house pet for 25 years. It's older than Gooner. All right,
so sad.
Those are the winners. I'm Howie Carr. Did you already blow it on your New Year's resolution? Didn't stick to that trendy new diet plan? Stop the roller coaster and get the weight off for good. People still say to me, wow, Howie, you look really great with all that weight off. But it's a lot more than looking better. It really is about feeling better, too. For me, it's about not having to wear a CPAP mask in order to sleep through the night. I'm able to go on bike rides every day. Sometimes I go on 2 or 3. I have much lower blood pressure, a lot more energy. I still eat what I want to eat, but unlike before the sleeve, now I don't overeat. Get the weight off for good. Call Newton Wellesley Weight Loss Center. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. Don't procrastinate any longer. Whatever your age, whatever your gender, do it. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Out of all of your books, which is your favorite title and why?
I think my favorite title is Hitman because it's very effective. I thought long and hard about it. We're going to make it Boston Hitman, but then why make it Boston Hitman? Just make it Hitman. Make it a universal subject.
If you could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would probably have dinner with William Shakespeare. I know that's a cliche response, but he was the greatest writer in the English language. No question about it.
If you won Mega Millions, would you retire completely?
I used to say no, I would not retire, but yeah, I think I would retire now.
If you had to leave all of your money to one charity, which would it be?
The Salvation Army. I like what the Salvation Army does. I don't think they have too many highly paid executives trying to be social justice warriors.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's what I'm saying. I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
The results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles.
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble with some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, for me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
But again,
you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some...
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
That was a physical. That was really, if a Republican did what Schumer did, they'd be in jail right now.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We have a behavioral problem, and I think the leaders of Congress owe it to the American people to act like adults.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population, 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math.
Sometimes I see an equation written on a blackboard, like half an equation. I'll just figure it out.
He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true.
Math is counting all your friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's adding and subtracting. All you have to do is try. Let's try.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
People don't like him. He's a very mean person, and people don't like him. People don't want that.
We are responsible for the people who claim to be our supporters and do really threatening, ugly, dangerous things.
You also have some information, new information on the Dayton shooter.
Yes, he identified himself as part of the left. He tweeted about Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders.
We are responsible.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Which was made by Joe. Okay, I didn't want to say Sleepy Joe because I want to be respected. I want to respect him.
Well, you got.
He looks like he's going to be a candidate, and I just say, how did that happen?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
You may not be able to buy face masks at your local pharmacy or supermarket, but never fear. You can still buy online. There's a limited supply left of Honest Howie's coronavirus credits. Send in your cash now, and Honest Howie will protect the polar bears from the pernicious plague that has swept the world. You will receive a personal handwritten thank you note from a healthy polar bear, written from his ice floe in the Arctic Circle. That's right. Honest Howie's coronavirus credits. Officer Mark came up with that one for me. Thank you, Officer Mark. 844-500-4242. I'm leaving at 6:30 tonight. I got to go to a party tonight in
Mar-a-Lago.
No, not at Mar-a-Lago. We went there last week with Joe Piantadosi, Grace and I. But no, I'm going somewhere else tonight. But I'll be leaving at 6:30. Taylor will be taking over, Taylor and Grace, for the last half hour of the show. But I got a few things I wanted to talk about before I leave here tonight. And as you know, we haven't talked about it much with all the excitement with Elizabeth Warren. And this isn't the governor's 17-cent gas tax. This is another gas tax. This is the Democrats' gas tax, which is only, only should be in quotation marks, only 5 cents per gallon and 9 cents for diesel. And they're raising the taxes on Uber and Lyft rides by 500%, from 20 cents a ride to $1.20. It will strip the sales tax exemption from rental car companies that purchase additional vehicles. It will jack up the annual minimum corporate excise tax from 456 to as much as 150,000. Wow. And this is ridiculous because tax receipts for the Commonwealth are already up for the first 7 months of this fiscal year, 4.9%. That's an almost $800 million. And I'm getting into Brian Williams country here now, but in fiscal year 2019, Massachusetts collected nearly $2 billion more in taxes than it had the year before. But now they say, oh, we need the money. It's not very much. It's not very much. But, the problem isn't the money. The problem is how the money is spent. And if you run into your local state rep or senator this weekend, wherever you might see them, you might thank them very much for raising the gas tax. It's still got to go through the Senate, but I don't think that'll be a problem. And, Tal Duvall is holding out for his 17-cent a gallon gas tax. So he says he's going to veto the 5-cent a gallon gas tax because he wants 17 cents. And of course, that will just be overridden in a matter of moments. But anyway, last summer, USA Today published a state-by-state ranking of decrepit transportation infrastructure. This is based on data from the Federal Highway Administration. Massachusetts ranked 6th from the bottom in rotten roads. But when it came to state highway spending per driver, that same study by the Federal Highway Administration found Massachusetts right in the middle at number 25. So in other words, we're not getting much bang for our buck. So they want to get more bucks. Do you think if they get more bucks, we'll get fewer potholes? I don't think so. Every year, there's this group called the Reason Foundation. It's a market-oriented think tank, and they were really big into transportation issues. And they rank the states in multiple categories, including high traffic fatalities. And Massachusetts has the lowest fatality rate in the U.S., probably because it's hard to get killed if you can't go over 10 miles an hour on the roads because the traffic is so bad and the potholes are taking you out before you can get up to 25 miles an hour. But when it comes to cost effectiveness, to the amount of money that Massachusetts spends per mile, both in maintenance and administration, the record is atrocious. Okay, according to the most recent Reason report, Massachusetts ranked 48th out of 50 in total highway spending per mile. And the lower your ranking, the higher you are per mile. So it's bad. South Carolina, for example, the Palmetto State, spends $13,255 on each mile of state road. $13,255. You know how much Massachusetts spends? $216,066 per mile. Granted, the cost of living in Massachusetts is higher than average, but it's also higher than average in Virginia, where highway spending is $37,875 per mile. How about Maine? Maine, it's $41,847 per mile. And again, Massachusetts is $216,000. So Maine, which has worse winters than Massachusetts, is spending less than 1/5 as much as Massachusetts for better highways. And incidentally, according to Reason's analysis, Virginia has the nation's second best highway system and Maine's is 4th. So what they're doing is they're raising the gas taxes to pay for the hackorama. The lead author of the annual report said, I'm laughing because it's so obvious for those of us who have lived in the state for our entire lives. Compounding the problem is the, quote, unusually large number of full-time staffers on the payroll of the Massachusetts transportation bureaucracy. Full-time staffers, another word for which is hacks, payroll patriots, payroll Charlies. Spending on administration. Okay, take maintenance. North Dakota, one of the best managed highway systems in the nation, $1,657 in maintenance per mile. Maine, $12,000. Maine's got a lot of snow. So does North Dakota. Massachusetts, I would dare say less snow than North Dakota, certainly less snow than Maine. $25,000 per mile per year. Over twice as much as Maine, 20 times more than North Dakota. Equally disgraceful is the Commonwealth spending on administration. 4 states managed to hold their administrative costs to less than $1,000 per mile of state highway: Kentucky, Nebraska, Arkansas, and Missouri. Oh, those are all basically red states, aren't they? Massachusetts, again, 4 states are under $1,000 spending on administration, but Massachusetts pours a mind-boggling $24,000 per mile into highway administration. And they're raising the taxes again. Do you think they're going to spend any more on fixing the roads or on hiring more associate, deputy, assistant commissioners for human relations and intergovernmental relations and climate change, all of which will be filled by people who contribute to the governor, or the lieutenant governor, or the members of the legislative leadership? 617 says, since we didn't have any snow this year, where does all that money that was saved on snow removal go? It goes to hire some new coat holders on Beacon Hill. They need some new door openers on for the House chambers, and some new door openers for the Senate chambers. That's where it's going. 844-500-4242. So this is the taxes. The taxes on gasoline have been increased by 5 cents per gallon of gasoline, 9 cents for diesel, and that's what the legislature wants. And the governor wants to increase the taxes another 17 cents per gallon. So, and they wonder why people are leaving the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Keep it here, chumps. More Howie Carr after this.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Salt Air Inn Bed and Breakfast in Bar Harbor, Maine, just steps away from Acadia National Park. Call Matt or Christy at 207-288-2882. That's 207-288-2882. Nauset Beach Inn has begun its early summer special, an ocean view room at only $100 per night. This is the ocean view room you can afford. It runs from May 1st through June 19th. Use promo code CAPE when booking. To reserve your ocean view room now, go to NausetBeachInn.com and click on special offers. Taxes and other special fees are not included. This can only be booked on NausetBeachInn.com. That's NAUSET beachinn.com.
Hey guys, it's Grace. Howie is always giving me great advice. Never speak when you can nod. Always get the deposit money on empty cans. But the best advice he ever gave me was to call the car guys to get my first used car. I had tried to go to dealerships in the past, but just ended up feeling intimidated. But Bill Papa George from the Car Guys was the perfect solution. He got me the greatest car at the greatest price. Call the Car Guys today at 800-300-4600. I promise you won't be disappointed. That's 800-300-4600. Tell them Grace sent you.
He's the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, so what better time to play some of his greatest hits? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Frosty.
This is going to be a mission to save all of creation.
If you want to ignore that these changes are taking place and that they're having a dramatic impact, then you are in the right place.
Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock? Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock, Senator?
Well, here is the thing.
You don't. How long has your family been in Massachusetts?
We are new arrivals. And
Mr. President, American history was made last night. The Boston Patriots won the Super Bowl. When the Second Amendment was written in order to maintain a well-regulated militia, they did not have in mind that people could purchase guns indiscriminately. The president is acting like Pontius Pilate.
The Subaru of New England, Washington's birthday sales event lasts all month long. Feel the freedom in the all-new, all-wheel drive 2020 Subaru Outback with standard LED headlights, starting at only $26,645 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months. Or lease for only $249 per month for 36 months with $24.49 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them, now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
Hi, this is John in the People's Republic of Amherst, Massachusetts.
This is Heather from Litchfield, Maine.
This is Camp, Wichita, Kansas, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beats. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who will the fake Indian endorse? Biden, Bernie, or nobody for a little while?
Nobody. She's going to keep reading her press clippings in the Boston Globe, which is basically the entire newspaper, which is basically why nobody buys the newspaper anymore.
11% say Bernie, 31% say Biden, and 58% say she's not going to endorse anyone for a while.
There's no I in team, but there is an I in fake Indian. There are 2 of them, as a matter of fact, and that's where she goes for. All right. It was a primary day in Super Tuesday in Maine, as well as Massachusetts and a number of other states. And in Maine, they were collecting signatures for referendum questions. And one of the referendum questions is to abolish this odious ranked choice voting system, under which the winner of the congressional race in the 2nd District in 2018 was not seated. He was defeated. That was Bruce Poliquin, the Republican incumbent. He defeated his Democrat opponent by more than 2,000 votes. And then when they went into ranked choice voting, he ended up losing. And it's just it's a travesty, and it's an abomination. And they're trying to repeal it now. And Bruce Poliquin is joining us on the line now to talk about it. Bruce, what happened on primary election day in Maine?
Hey, Howie, good to talk to you. Yeah, thanks for asking. You're not going to believe this. Your audience is not going to believe this. The day before Election Day, that means this past Monday, we had hundreds of volunteers all around the state collecting signatures so we could deep six this rank voting scam for this presidential election, because Governor Mills and her far-left legislature, Howie, last year passed this bill very quietly. The press didn't really cover it. So all of a sudden we got ranked voting. They're going to try to scam Trump this November. So we're collecting these signatures. Day before, we are going to these 11 polling stations in Portland. The Portland officials say, we're going to let everybody else come in here to collect signatures, but not you people, because you're going to confuse voters, our voters in Portland, when they go to the polls. And we say, wait a minute, our folks are going to be collecting signatures after they vote in a location after they vote. So the Maine GOP, to their great benefit, and we're so thankful, they filed an emergency, a restraining order with the Superior Court, and they won. So our people got to go to these 11 polling stations in Portland. We only had 5 hours left on Tuesday by the time all this is over, but we collected a boatload of signatures all over the state, and we're going to deep six this thing, Howie, so Trump doesn't get scammed in November.
Well, are you going to have the vote on the same day as the election?
Well, no. If we collect these 65,000 signatures, it's actually not a referendum. It's a people's veto. So if we collect them, we turn them into the Secretary of State's office and they're certified, it will repeal, it will stop the law that's currently in effect to use ranked voting for the presidential election. So it'll stop it dead. The other thing it'll do, Howie, which is just as important, it will put one sentence on the ballot this November. It says, do you want to repeal ranked voting for future presidential elections? And this way, in a presidential election year, there'll be about 700,000 Mainers going to the polls and weighing in on this, because the way they passed this darn thing a couple of years ago was with like 15% of registered voters in a special election with out-of-state money scamming us. This way, everyone's going to be able to weigh in on this. This is a big deal.
Is it too late to sign the petitions, Bruce, or can people still sign the petitions?
No, please go to repealrankedchoice.com. Repealrankedchoice.com. It is not too late, and they can certainly do that. We've collected a boatload, Howie, but we got a long way to go, and we want to get these signatures done as soon as possible so we can stop this law and then focus on educating our voters to vote the right way this November to repeal ranked voting for future presidential elections. So go to repealrankedchoice.com.
Repealrankedchoice.com. And how long do they have to sign the petitions?
We've got another few months, but we want to get it done as soon as we can so we can start focusing on the messaging so everybody in the state knows this is our chance to go back to one person, one vote.
So how do you do it? We're talking to Bruce Poliquin, the former congressman who lost his seat thanks to this abomination called ranked choice voting, and he's now trying to get rid of it. Can you vote online, or do you have to download a petition and sign it and take it to town hall or city hall? How does it work?
I'm not sure, but if you go to repealrankedchoice.com, there are instructions. They're very clear, Howie. But believe me, it'll be easy to do. We've had thousands and thousands of people swarming this website and calling into the Maine GOP to get this done. And this isn't just Republicans. This is Democrats and independents that said, hey, look, we have spent 200 years up here. One person, one vote. Now we got the system where you can cast multiple votes. Sometimes they're counted, sometimes they're not.
It's ridiculous.
They do this for one reason. It's ridiculous. They do it for one reason. Liberal activists who pass this do it to harvest additional votes to their candidates so they can win close elections.
Repealrankedchoice.com. Go to repealrankedchoice.com, and we'll have you on in a couple of weeks again to discuss this further. People are complaining they didn't have it in northern Maine. They didn't know where to sign the signature. We'll get it. I'll be out of here. Howie Carr.
Primary season is upon us, and as we